after a 124-105 win. So Donovan Mitchell, if you're into the math, is averaging just under 44 a game so far through 2 games. 57, third most ever in playoff history in game 1. Follows that up with an efficient 30 on just 14 shots and 6 of 7 from three-point range, and dished out 8 assists. The Jazz were an offensive juggernaut in game 2. Here's Spida.
Go ahead and get going here with our first question from Kristen Kenny, Jazz TV.
Don, a big bounce back for you guys today. What did you learn about your team?
We got a lot of guys that are ready to fight. You know, they're a tough team. You know, they had multiple weapons. You know, Jokic kind of got off. You know, Royce did a hell of a job on Jamal. Porter kind of got off too, but the biggest thing, we stayed together. Even when we missed shots, you know, it wasn't even about the offense. We just stayed locked in and communicated, and that's what we need this whole series. Game 3 is going to be intense. We just need to keep the same energy and intensity and lock in.
Okay, I think our next one's actually there with you. Taylor Brooks has a question.
Hey Don, so obviously last game you have 57 points, today you have 30. How have you almost become, you know, a chameleon? You can always adapt to like what the team needs from you at any given moment or any given game. How have you been able to
I think the biggest thing for me is just trying to, like you said, just reading the situation. You know, I think I said it earlier, like my first 2 years, I kind of saw the rim, you know, and it's being a scorer. Now it's kind of, you know, I prided myself over quarantine, just kind of becoming a playmaker, you know, finding ways to get the team involved. And it may not always be, you know, scoring, you know, and I think today just really trusting my teammates, and they did a hell of a job to you know what I mean, Rudy, Joe, JC, Royce, everybody, you know, to be able to not just hit shots, but be ready and make plays. And I think that's what made it easy for me.
Okay, next question, Sarah Todd, Deseret News.
Don, Mike Malone had talked yesterday about really wanting to get you away from driving to your right and keeping your body on you kind of on both sides. It seemed like they did a pretty good job of that in the first half, but for you that opens up so many more of those skip passes and those open guys out in the corner. So do you feel like that adds any pressure when they come at you like that, or does it feel good like, oh, well, these guys are open?
I mean, for me, they did a great job. You know, they did a great job of just trying to make it tough on me. Like, you felt it early, but, you know, for me, it's all about adapting. You know, understanding that, you know, the lanes and the seams that were there in game 1 aren't going to be there in game 2. And like I said, getting off the ball, trusting my teammates. You know, we got guys who can really score, who can really make plays, and you just got to trust them. And I trust all my teammates, and, you know, if they want to take me out of it, just being able to find and make the right read. And that's really what I've been priding myself on and trying to do. And like I said, giving credit to my teammates on, you know, making plays and believing in me that I'm going to be able to get off the ball and then come back if need be, which is what happened in the third quarter.
All right, next question, Eric Walden, Public Tribune.
I'm curious to know what kind of defensive adjustments you guys made tonight. Obviously, Jamal Murray was big against you guys in game 1. Tonight, just 14 points on 13 shots. Were you guys doing something significantly different to kind of
I'm just trying to make it tough.
Change it?
Just trying to make it tough on them. Like I said, man, him and Jokic, you know, they're tough. You know, Michael Porter got going as well. But at the end of the day, you know, we just trusted Royce and Joe. You know, they're our top defenders, and you got Rudy back there as well. But I think the biggest thing is just making it tough. I know for myself personally, when Torrey Craig does that to me, you get tired after a while. So for us, just Royce picking them up full court, keeping that intensity up. And we got to keep that up throughout the series. You know, we're great to do it today. We got the win, but we need 3 more. So I don't think we're satisfied with that. We did a good job today. We got to be able to do it again, game 3.
Okay, next up, Ryan Miller, KSL.com.
Hey Donovan, Jamal, he posted that thing on after game 1 on you guys on social media running media. How strange is it that you guys are seeing each other playing?
It's a little weird, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I know pretty much everybody on that team off the floor, but right now it's business, you know, and that's really all it is. You can see him walk by, but it's business, and you just got to stay locked in. You know, it's nothing personal. We just got to go out there and just stay locked in throughout the entire playoffs. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, we know each other. It's a small world, like in this basketball world. We know I've known Jamal since high school. I've known Gary Harris, Will Bart went to that same high school I did. Like, you're going to see these guys. It's just a matter of can you take that and separate that from what you need to do on the court.
Okay, last question for you here today will be from Tony Jones, The Athletic.
Hey Don, did you guys, losing to them 4 straight times, 3 times in the regular season, you guys, even though all those were possession games down the stretch, were you guys kind of like, okay, we just make some adjustments, we're right there as this team, and we can make this a close series and a long series?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing is, like I said, just being aggressive. Obviously it's easy when the shots are falling. Guys, we all hit shots, we did our thing, but I think the biggest thing to take away is the defensive, how blocked when we were defensively from top to bottom. I think that's really where we stood out, and that was kind of the difference between a lot of these games. I think, for the most part of the regular season, I hadn't shot well, Mike hadn't shot well, Boyan, in those games. So I feel like if we can continue to do what we did today defensively and also make shots, I think we have a chance to something really special, not just in this series, but we get 3 more and get the next one. But I think for right now, we're focused on Game 3 and being able to replicate what we did tonight on Game 3.
Okay, thank you, Donovan.
Thank you.
Thoughts there from Donovan Mitchell, who has now scored more points in the first 2 games of a postseason series than any player in Utah Jazz history. His 87 eclipsed the 83 points that Adrian Dantley posted in the first 2 games of a series back in 1984. And kids, look up Adrian Dantley. He led the league in scoring twice wearing a Utah Jazz uniform back in the 1980s. All right, let's get back to the bubble and thoughts from Rudy Gobert.
Hey, Rudy, I know this was a big one for you guys to bounce back. And
playing chess match between their similar yet, it's a little different styles of the way they like to play.
Well, this was a historically good offensive game in terms of the postseason for the Utah Jazz. The 124 points they put up is the most by a Utah team in a non-overtime playoff game since 1995. Their 32 assists in Game 2 is their most in a non-overtime postseason game since 1996. You remember those teams chanting they were pretty good. Stockton, Malone, Jerry Sloan. Those guys play a little bit. They also were plus 13 from their bench, including Jordan Clarkson, who Michael Malone went out of his way to single out after a big
bucket.
Big game for him. It's absolutely why they brought him in. Clarkson goes 9 of 18, had 26 points for the Utah Jazz. Waiting to hear from Quinn Snyder here, and we had a little bit of an audio issue, but I think we have him now. Let's listen in.
The 32 assists, the 20 made threes. It seems like your group is so confident getting everyone involved.
Well, I think, we were unselfish and made the right play, and they were aggressive in pick and roll. And it shows with the assist totals, with Royce having 8 assists. I thought Donovan was really patient early and made the right play. And, obviously in the third quarter, he had a big quarter. He was able to score offensively. Everybody made the right play, shared the ball. Put ourselves in a good position because we were able to defend it.
All right, next question, Tony Jones, The Athletic.
Coach, obviously you got but I mean that's got to be, you have to be happy just a little how you got to work defensively. I thought you guys did on most possessions. What did you guys see defensively, and what adjustments were you guys able to make between Game 1 and Game 2?
Well, our guys competed, and, to whatever extent, there's a plan. The players made plays. And, big picture, they're a heck of a team, and they're really, really hard to guard. And I just thought our guys, we dug in and collectively really defended, as you said, and did a good job, protecting the paint, finishing plays on the glass. I don't know what the rebound totals were, but we had guys working their tails off to get on the glass, and even if you don't get it, just the effort that we had around the rim was great. Royce O'Neal on the ball, and I thought everybody, it takes a team to defend them because they move the ball so well and they're so unselfish, and it just puts a lot of pressure on you all the time. So everybody's got to do their part on every possession. For the most part, that's what happened.
Apologies for the audio issues with